government hearing the Bangsamoro Basic Law.
That's right. We are the primary committee hearing the Bangsamoro Basic Law in the Senate.
And there is a hearing, a simultaneous hearing being held, chaired by Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago, who is the chairman of the Constitutional Amendments, looking into the constitutionality of the BBL.
That's right, because this bill was referred to three committees. The Committee on Local Government, the Committee on Peace and Reconciliation, and the Committee on Constitutional Amendments, which is chaired by Senator Miriam Santiago. We decided to carry on with her hearings because these events in Mama Sapano do not really do not change anything in terms of the issues of constitutionality. So, because we were interested in keeping the process going. However, I did suspend all other hearings for the simple reason that there is no way we can not take note of the Mama Sapano incident. It is critical because clearly this shows up a failing in the systems that are supposed to be in place that have been agreed upon in the basic agreement that was signed between the MILF and the Philippine government. And from that was the basis for the BBL. So if this is still possible to happen, then there is something that didn't work in the system that we are trying to implement. And so we must find out exactly what happened first so that we know what remedies we have to put in, what changes, amendments we have to put in. Do we need to add more provisions? Do we have to strengthen certain provisions? All of that. And because in the end, we have to keep remembering that the point of the exercise is not just to pass a law. That is not the point of the exercise. The point of the exercise is to try and find a system that will bring us true and lasting peace in Mindanao. If BBL is part of that, then let's pursue it. But if there are other things that need to be looked at, we need to be looking at those things.
Do you think BBL is the solution?
It's certainly a partial solution. I don't know that we have been able to include all interested parties, because as we well know, the Zamboanga uprising was a kind of reaction to the BBL. So there's still the MNLF under the Nurmiswari faction that is still out there fighting against the BBL. And because there is the Tripoli agreement of this that was done in the 70s, there was the final agreement that was done in 96, and the confusion is how this all works together. So the BBL as a single dimension to it may not be sufficient. Maybe we need to be looking at from a larger perspective than what we are doing now.
Does that mean you are not fully supportive of the BBL right now?
And I am fully supportive of peace and
yes.
anything else that we know can
yes.
bring that peace.
No.
We need to pursue and we need to work very, very hard to make it
I
succeed.
ask you that, sir, because you are the head of the Committee on Local Government. And number two, there is supposed to be some sort of a deadline. I think it was supposed to be March.
Actually, it was a self-imposed deadline. And we had decided to do our best to finish it by the end of this session, which is March 20th. But we certainly did not reckon that there was going to be this kind of thing. But now it really, in a way, brings up and highlights really the other aspects of the BBL that we have to look at very, very hard to make sure that it succeeds. We want this to succeed. We don't want a partial success. We want a complete success.
So support is still there for you. It just needs to be dissected, studied, analyzed.
I support any peace effort,
okay.
because we certainly do not support war. And this is something that we have been trying to achieve for a very long time. We thought we had achieved it with the Tripoli agreement, but apparently the policy of the government changed. But in the meantime, while we are still waiting for these facts surrounding the events of Mama Sapano, I think there are things that we can do. There are some confidence building measures. That we have lost the trust, actually, of the public, number one, and of both sides, the government and the MILF. And we cannot come back to discussing it first until we have regained that confidence in each other. Um, it has gotten to the point where there are many, not only general public, but people of high officials saying, forget it, just forget the whole idea. And all-out war is a phrase that I've been hearing, unfortunately. But so this is where we stand now. So in my view, while we are still trying to dig up the facts and find out precisely what had happened, we need to encourage, and I have done that. I spoke to Chairman Iqbal and tried to explain to him that these confidence-building measures are actually important, and to bring it to the MILF leadership. And that is, number one, the call to return the arms and the equipment and the personal effects of the slain soldiers. Number two is assistance in hunting down the other terrorist, Basit Usman. And thirdly, we have to get a clear explanation or understanding of what exactly is the relationship between MILF and BIFF. Because the reports that we have been getting is that they were fighting together in Mamasapano. So is that supposed? Now, I know that the declarations of the MILF has been that they are a separate group. But, you know, that uncertainty is still there. Now, not to say it's only the MILF who has to take some steps. The government has to take some steps.
What kind of steps does government have to take?
Clarify the chain of command. What happened? There are mechanisms in place wherein our troops can go in. There are mechanisms, but there's coordination that is required, and all of these things that have been discussed. So why didn't it happen? Now, when we examine to see what happened on the government side, hindi rin maliwanag kung ano ba talaga ang nangyari. Sino nag-utos nito? Up to this day, we are coming up to 2 weeks now, and they haven't been able to answer who said go, who gave the order go. That is something that's very simple. And now we have the involvement of the suspended chief PNP, and we have all kinds of stories running around. So this kind of confusion doesn't help.
Do you have a clear idea from your sources on what happened that day on January 25?
I think on the ground, more and more, it has to be very, very clear. It has become quite clear what happened.
So what is your number one question? Let's start with that on the ground. What's the number one thing you want to find out? Well, why it somehow failed?
Certainly there are tactical questions, but I don't think that is the place of a legislator. I mean, the investigations will continue between the uniformed services, and they have to figure out what went wrong. My concern is why did the supposed coordination between government forces and the MIF, why did it not occur? What happened? Why the extrication plan, which I'm sure was there, because no trooper, no one will go in, no officer will order his men in without a plan to come
get out.
What happened to that plan, and why did it not succeed? And see, the problem really is that we haven't. There is this deafening silence from government side as to what happened, who ordered it, how was the planning. You know, we haven't seen the Oplan Wolverine. We have been trying to get a copy of the actual Oplan Wolverine. We've been trying to get a copy of the intelligence pack, what they call the package, which was the basis of the operation. We are trying to get what they call the approval sheet, where people signed off on the, and we can't get that. Now,
is that something you can get on Monday?
I'm hoping to, but so far we haven't. And I've actually written that we ask for certain, number one, the survivors to come forward and tell us what they experienced. And secondly, these documents, which are there, because the mission, the operation could not have gone on without those documents
absolutely
being ready. So then within 2 hours of this happening, all they have to do is look into their files and give it to us. Why haven't we gotten that yet?
And what about the connection between, or the possible non-communication between the PNP and the AFP? Is that something important to you?
That is something that it's very difficult to understand, because they conduct they train together all the time, and they know of each other's presence in that area. The commanders know each other. They, as I said, many of them even socialize together and are friends with each other. So this non-communication is certainly perplexing. That's why, again, I'm afraid all I can provide are questions. And we are looking to the government for answers. We are looking to the MILF for answers. And those answers have to be forthcoming. Otherwise, we simply cannot move forward.
And just like you, I believe